something in the history, the 39-year history of MAI that has only happened once before, and that is the introduction of a new president and CEO for this ministry. We heard last night that John Moss became the president and CEO back in 1998, and now 2024, we are going to introduce to you the new president and CEO, Heather Pubols. Just a word of background. It's probably no surprise to you when you see the ongoing lasting fruit of an organization like Media Associates International, that this ministry is bathed in prayer. And that is certainly a big feature of the board meetings. I was on the board for several years, including recently being the chair of the board, and John had told us that he was going to retire when he turned 70, which was July 31st, 2024. So we set upon this process of searching for a new CEO. I had the privilege of working with John and others on the search committee, and we did a number of interviews, and when we met Heather and began to interview her and spent time with her on the board, it became clear that this was the one that we believed God had selected for this ministry. So it's always a huge step of faith. I'm sure it's a huge step of faith for Heather to take a leadership role in this organization. But I'm very, very excited now to introduce Anna Piro, who is going to interview Heather and introduce her to you.
In June of 2022, the MAI Board of Directors commenced a search for a new CEO as John Moss had announced his plans to retire in July of 2024. Advertising on appropriate websites, letters to networks, word of mouth, and then this letter landed in our inbox on December 8th of 2022. In 2009, my husband Jeff and I lived in Nairobi, Kenya. One day over lunch, a Kenyan colleague asked me if Jeff bought me flowers. After I responded affirmatively, he said, "I see all these men over there reading Christian books that tell them to buy their wives flowers on special occasions. They inevitably go home with flowers and face disappointment. Our wives don't want flowers. They want something useful." He further explains that people bought these books because locally contextualized Christian books were scarce. Over the next nearly 10 years, I traveled the globe as I led a photojournalism team for a mission agency. As I developed relationships with non-Western theologians and mission leaders, I realized that few considered publishing books with their insights. I urged many to think about writing because I saw that without publishing, most people would never benefit from their unique perspectives. Seeing these gaps kindled my passion to see the whole church represented in the story of the church and in Christian literature. As a missionary journalist, I acted on this by telling the stories of the global church. Now, as the editor of Evangelical Missions Quarterly, I respond by making it a priority to help more non-Western missionaries and theologians publish articles in the journal. As the CEO of MAI, I could do much more to satisfy the global hunger for the written word. My experiences in training, consulting, fundraising, public speaking, management, and board facilitation align well with the requirements of your open position. And the start date in July of 2024 also fits with my current responsibilities. I am resourceful, love learning, and I thrive on new challenges. I believe I am uniquely suited for this role. I would be grateful if you'd consider me for it. Sincerely, Heather Pubols. While others were interviewed, the CEO search committee and the board of directors kept coming back to Heather. An offer was extended, and Heather accepted the offer in August of 2023 to start her tenure as MAI CEO on Monday, November 11th of this year. That would be next week. One of the qualifications for MAI CEO was flexible and adaptable to change. Heather experienced that tonight as we changed the schedule from what is printed in your booklet to have Artie speak first and then this interview with Heather. I'm sure this will not be the only time she has to be flexible and adaptable to change. Please provide a warm welcome for the new MAI Chief Executive Officer, Heather Pubols. Welcome to our studio. So, Heather, tell me about your family and where you grew up.
Sure. Thank you for asking that question, Anna. I grew up in the northeastern part of the U.S., in the smallest state of the U.S. called Rhode Island. And I'm a pastor's kid. I'm the middle of 3 children, but our family's a little unusual because my brother is 7 years older than me, and my sister is 10 years younger than me. So I'm the only one of the children in the family who always had a sibling at home.
I understand that your sister was one of the Most girls' roommates in college, and you had prayed for John without knowing who he really was. But you did not realize this until we had breakfast in June of 2023. It was kind of fun to sit at breakfast and find that out. So, tell me about your professional and intercultural experience.
I started, well, actually I'd say my career started in 1997, working for a large company that was based in my hometown. I brought my resume several times every summer after I graduated from high school, and they finally hired me after I also started calling their vice president of advertising almost every day. And then in the year 2000, I started working for Wycliffe Bible Translators. Again, like I said, I'm a pastor's kid, but I didn't really have any missions experience. Before I took that job, I just started cold calling mission agencies, asking if they could use some of my skills, like all kinds of places. And when I called Wycliffe, they actually said, "Oh, we posted a job yesterday and we want you to apply for it." So it was pretty amazing journey there. I ended up moving to Orlando, Florida, and started working in their headquarters, managing their video team at a very young age, and eventually became their director of communications for all their U.S. media, and then my husband and I moved overseas with Wycliffe, and I launched and led a global photojournalism team. We traveled as a team in probably around 30 countries. My staff was spread across 5 continents, and came from 7 nationalities. And we told the story of Bible translation, and that was shared with more than 100 organizations worldwide, and was distributed to around 400,000 constituents globally. And when at one point it appeared that our time with Wycliffe was coming to an end, we returned back to the U.S., and I just thought, well, what am I going to do now? And I thought, well, I'm going to launch my own ministry. And I started a consulting ministry, working alongside mission agencies and groups of mission agencies that were collaborating together in networks to talk to them about to consult with them on organizational communications in general, but especially on the importance of telling a story about what God was doing today through their ministries and causes. And along the way, I had the opportunity to become the editor of Evangelical Missions Quarterly, which is the oldest, most widely read professional journal for North American missionaries, which was an incredible honor, something I quite enjoyed. My last issue will come out in January. Just finished up my editorial work for that, but through that, I have been able to work with about 200 authors who mostly were publishing an EMQ for the very first time, and many of them were publishing or writing something for the very first time as well. So I'm really passionate about working with new writers.
Besides home renovations, what are your passions about?
Well, yes, we are remodeling a home. Since we came back to the U.S., we purchased a home, and I have been learning how to do drywall, mudding and taping, and
Hanging doors,
sourcing surplus construction materials. I really enjoy gardening. That's something that is really fun. I find it just so amazing how little seeds can turn into things that you can eat. I also, though, just kind of in general, I really enjoy connecting people. Any of you that have talked to me, I've probably said, do you know this person? Or can I introduce you to this other person? I find so much joy in connecting God's people together and facilitating people working together in collaboration. And I'm also very passionate about being a bridge to people at the margins and finding ways to use the connections that I have to highlight the great things that other people know that they can share with others.
So how does MAI align with how you feel God has called you?
It was just so interesting when, actually it was a friend who gave me the job description and really encouraged me to apply for it. And my husband as well, when he saw it, all these other people in my life were saying, this job sounds just like you. And just that sense of encouraging more people in the global church to have their voices heard within their own context and beyond is something that I really care about and I'm excited to be participating in.
And my last question. In your booklet, you should have read an interview with Heather. So, what's your favorite food so far here in Puebla?
I really enjoyed the mole. That's been fun. This is really good. And the tomatillo green salsa. I love that.
Excellent. So you can see why Heather is a great fit and why God kept bringing her name back to the top for our CEO. So thank you, Heather.